Three of
All
the
right.
people that are here are super
Good.
excited about this. All
Good.
right.
All right. Well, I think we're ready for our first three questions. Not everyone at once, though.
Not everyone
Uh,
at once. All
yeah.
right, so here we go. I'm just playing stuff in the background, and look at this cat. Okay, before we talk about
Ooh,
Black Future '88, we have to cover the cat. I mean, come on. So,
yeah.
tell everyone again why this molesting cat is after you and his name.
So you may have noticed I'm here today with one of our development partners. He's handling our our Asian strategy, our as well as our Eastern European strategy. His name is Mr.
Wow.
Pants. He's the thirstiest cat. He just loves attention. He's all up in people's DMs and stuff,
He's marketing,
just
basically heading
noticing.
marketing right now. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
he's about 1,000 years old. He'll
Oh.
live for about another 30,000 years. His face is a little funny. He got in a fight once with a dog. Uh,
Oh, so he's also
he's
bold, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he has a sister that lives with us, Mrs. Buttons, and as far as they know, they're the last two cats on the planet, and they spend all their time trying to destroy each other
Okay.
instead of showing like love or concern for each other. It's just like,
Oh.
oh, that's the other cat. It's like the fucking Highlander movie. It's like they're just like trying to just
They're
like
like the last flurkin left on Earth. Is that
yeah,
what you're
like
saying?
oh yeah, that cat. There can only be me. Like I'm the only cat. I'm gonna be the last cat, and I'm gonna die, and then no more cats.
Is it like a fight for attention, or what is it that they're competing about?
They just want to be the only cat.
Just the only cat, okay.
And they have a clear understanding of their mortality because they've had lots of problems with themselves. So they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to be the last cat. Then I'll be the last cat.
Hmm.
Yeah. But he's cool because he always knows when a webcam is on. So he comes up here
Oh,
and just
really?
acts.
No, see, that's gold, though. I mean, you have to have like a streaming cat, and he's
Oh
amazing.
yeah, he's
Look at him! Oh, he's so loving. My
yeah
cat
he to-
only comes on camera when he can turn his butt to the camera. Like, that's his goal. If there's a way for him to turn his butt towards something, then that's it. That's all he wants, really.
yeah, he'll get that too. He's not butt shy. He's very butt forward. So.
He's butt progressive.
Yeah, he doesn't like walk into rooms backwards yet, but I think he will eventually. Just oh,
Amazing.
my fantastic creatures.
All right, so let's get to the questions, some of which we can answer and some of which we can't.
They're probably all animal related, I guess. That's
That
most of
would
what
that
I'm
would be
for.
easy if they were, but they're not. Okay. So Dead World plays when and where will this get released? Well, we can't tell you when yet, but Don can tell you where.
Yeah, Steam and Nintendo Switch. That's what we've announced. Are we doing other PC platforms, Genesee? I honestly don't know.
No, just Steam and Nintendo
Yeah,
Switch.
yeah, there
It's
we
a
go.
Nintendo Switch exclusive, so if that answers all the other questions, it should pretty much put that under
Yeah,
the block of what you need to know.
that was an easy one. Oh,
See,
my God, we got one heart. There we go. Boom, boom.
nice.
I figured out emojis in Skype, and I'm all about them
It's
these days.
dangerous. It's
So,
truly dangerous now.
yeah.
All right, so before the game's launched and before we've announced the launch date, Ben's Chapitel wants to know: do you plan on any DLCs in the future? Well, I don't know that he can answer that. I'm not even going to let him answer that, even if he wants to answer that, because that's just premature. I mean, let him get it out the door first before we ask for more.
There's yeah, I would stay tuned for that.
There, see,
Sorry,
fair enough.
non-answer answer.
Okay,
Yeah.
now one of my, I guess I should say, first of all, before we get too far into questions, for those who've never seen this game before, have no idea what's happening, let's break it down. Black Future '88. This is Don Bellinger, who is the
Oh, yeah.
lead developer, CEO, Lord of the Universe from
CEO.
Super Scary Snakes, which you can see
CEO.
his awesome logo there. And let's just talk about, I guess, basically what the game is, break it down, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty on what people want to know.
Yeah, so Black Future 88 is a synth punk drug fueled fever dream
I think you mean stems down. I
revenge
think you mean stems.
nightmare where 1 to 2 players only have 18 minutes to live to climb and murder a living tower called Skymelt. It's set in this alternate version of 1988 in the kind of aftermath of this nuclear catastrophe. And, you're just out there for fucking revenge against, for the human race. It's regular stuff.
Right.
So
Just your everyday.
Yeah, it's cool because everything goes wrong on your trip up the tower. So there's a lot to God, Mr. Pants, you're looking very videogenic right now. So so just looking at him on the camera, his face is like, yeah. So
Oh, it's okay.
but anyways, so a lot of things go wrong. It's kind of like it's almost like crazy Stardew Valley, where you go up with one plan, but all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, all this just emergent stuff happening. I'm maybe going to take care of that for a little bit. Um, but you only have 18 minutes to live. The game takes a bit longer than that to beat, but it is built around like fast, aggressive, short play sessions. But you can extend that time, but it's always tricky and expensive and difficult to manage. But there are tools for that. And the player, you will have to get the good stuff.
Yeah, got you. Okay, so Skymelt, Skynet, Skyrim. How many times I would be rich right now if I had $1 for every time someone said you're climbing the tower Skynet. So how did you come up? How did you come up with the names for some of the things in the game? Let's start with Skymelt.
Oh, really? I just go on my long walks with my dog, and that's where all thinking happens. I don't really do any game stuff while I'm sitting at my computer. Honestly, it's like, just walking with my dogs. I go on mammoth walks. Yeah, that's honestly where all thinking and design
Okay.
happens. It's just
So what you're saying is when you're bending over cleaning up dog poop, this is when your best ideas occur to you.
pretty much. It's like, yeah, dude, this. I just got an idea.
It's the old
It's
shower
like,
trope.
yeah, when she's doing her stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, we just walk a lot. And I wanted a grim and really serious '80s kind of retro future. And I think just kind of the creative space that the game lives in is really important to me. And it really started like watching Stranger Things like 3 years ago. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And it's not cool because like the music fits and it's like kind of cool synth wavy. It's cool because it's really cohesive in tone, and it never breaks character, and it never does like a wink and a nod. It's cool because it's like a really original take on kind of this retro. God, it's an ugly cat. It's like really like thorough, holistic, original take on it, and that's
Yes.
Black Future has similar qualities to it. So when we look at names like Skymelt and Black Future and all that, and the names of buffs and weapons, it's all meant to like be part of the environmental world building. That's important to me.
Yeah. No, it has a lovely nostalgic feel, although the 80s have never looked this good.
No, I don't think they did.
No. But I like to imagine that they did in my memory. And this game, it gives you everything you're asking for.
Do you ever rewatch an '80s film and think like, oh, this film fucking sucks?
Yes, but when you watched it, you were like, this is the best movie ever. That's why I try not to rewatch things, because it just makes me sad at my low expectations, which at the time were cutting edge.
Yeah, and some of them got much better with age, but
Really?
some stuff yeah, like Big Trouble in Little China. Um,
Oh, okay. That's
that
fair.
that soundtrack has aged so well. And John Carpenter is just a big source of inspiration for me. But also like, the movie's great. The movie's still
Yeah.
good.
Gracie Law is a cosplay on my list. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Yes. Amazing costumes. I love the whole, take on the sort of spin, the Asian spin that isn't really authentic but has a nice
Yeah.
style.
It's also just very San Francisco, which is something I
Hmm.
appreciate. It's good. It's like the good old weird San Francisco that we had before Google, Facebook. Yeah, those assholes. So yeah,
Okay.
so it was a good one before that.
Yes. Yes.
So
All
um,
right. Moving on to questions. I have to pronounce all of your names, and I am preemptively so sorry, especially for the testers that we have in Discord right now who are playing the beta, giving us feedback, things like that. And this is one of our more active testers that I'm going to butcher your name. It looks like hamburger, but it is in German Haemboerger. I'm just going to say hamburger because
hamburger.
yes, hamburger. I don't know. Sounds like I'm, from New York. So there's a lot of questions here, so I'm just going to kind of pick and choose.
Okay.
Are you satisfied with the difficulty of the bosses so far?
Um, No. And I think there is actually an update coming tomorrow that
Ooh.
really moves it to kind of a place where I'm happy with it. And that we could talk about that.
We
But
absolutely could, and we should. First, before we
yeah,
do, though, everyone should know that you can now get the beta for Black Future 88 on surprisingly, the site, blackfuture88.com.
what
What? And so every Thursday,
articles?
every 2 weeks on Thursday, we're doing updates to this game, and it will continue to update, continue to roll out content until the launch. So if you get the beta now, you will have the launched game. It's just limited content that's kind of rolling out as we get to it. So one of those updates, the first one in our series of regular ones, is happening tomorrow, and that's the boss
Yeah.
update that Don's going to address. So tell us all about the patch notes.
Oh man. So I usually collect patch notes like very loosely. I'm like, oh, what did I work on? And I'll go through Git. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I did do that. I'm not very good at Git, so sometimes I get like commit notes from things I actually already did. But anyways, for tomorrow, what's going to be new is boss difficulty is going up in a pretty cool way. Some of the way what I've always liked about the game is that kind of regular room combat going through a zone feels different. It has a different quality to it than fighting bosses. And weapons that are really good at clearing rooms aren't always good at killing bosses. So things like the ghost nail and the night nail, those are really fun, and also they're really fun when you're powering through an early zone, but they kind of suck against bosses, and that's good. That I really like that. What's coming tomorrow is kind of tying together some of the kind of room clearing experience as well as the boss stuff, and mostly addresses a few special cases. Juno is now really fucking cool. So when you actually enrage Juno by killing Jupiter first, she's going to enrage in a more meaningful way, and she's going to be a much more formidable opponent. And I think what's really cool about doing that is, if you kill Juno last, then you're sometimes offered the Juno core upgrade. And that's kind of a really special case buff. That's just a total
Is
boss
that
killer.
why, if you kill Juno last? Because sometimes I've noticed it and sometimes I haven't. That's the trick. Juno must be last.
It's the last boss you kill of those two that'll give you their signature upgrade. So the Jupiter core is just like, pretty good utilitarian. It's very good against just kind of all the time. It's just like a really nice thing to have. That's the Jupiter core. The Juno core is just like heavy, hard ass DPS. So that's really good against bosses. That's really good against clearing the hardest enemies in the game, which are the cursed microwave bombs. So the other that's one change. Bosses are going to scale a little bit differently. So boss scaling has always been a thing I wanted, but I haven't really been that satisfied with. So the earlier you find a boss, the easier they are, and then the harder you find the boss, the harder they're going to be in the zone. So things that are now scaling harder are Uberheim scales much harder. So you really don't want to find them too late. And the other one that scales a lot harder is Tempest, the Tempest Dr. Avalanche fight. So the other big change is that the way cursed bosses work, they now curse things around them, and cursed bosses are now generally harder. And it makes the strategy of picking up cursed equipment a lot more, I think, nuanced and a lot more punishing in a good way. I think it makes the gameplay a lot more exciting when things have much stronger downsides. So now if you run into like a cursed Juno, you have some really big problems. If you run into a cursed Uberheim, you have a lot of problems too, because his drones will now be cursed. And he'll scale up by creating more drones the later you find him.
By the way, what people are seeing right now is the Jupiter Juno fight in the background while you're talking. So, fortuitously, if people can now see, this is exactly what you're talking about. And the Night Piercer is just dropped.
Nice.
So continue.
So I think that's kind of nudging up not just the difficulty of boss fights, but also the complexity. And I think that's really in line with kind of how Black Future does difficulty, which is that it has like, some basic mechanical complexity, like how fast can you do this on the controller or whatever. But I think the kind of mechanical and like the content complexity is where the difficulty is for the game, and I think the boss update is going to push that pretty good.
Awesome. Okay, so something to look forward to tomorrow if you're in the beta. I'm not supposed to be taking questions from Twitch. I would really like you guys to go to Discord, and I should probably link that for you in a second. But Sorrento is asking, are you born in 1988? And I just feel that has to be asked. So
No. I just turned 38, but I've been telling my family I'm 25, and my daughter calls me out on this like stone cold. I keep like slipping it in, and like she'll always ask me a question like, "Hey, how does that work?" I'm like, "Oh, in all my 25 years on this planet," and she'll just like step right in. She's like, no, Daddy, no,
really?
No, you're 38. She'll spell it out in just most legal terms. I was not born in '88. I was born in 81.
There you go. All right, I'm looking for the Discord link for you guys. But in the meantime, it is Good Shepherd Games. If you're looking on Discord, you can just do a search for Good Shepherd Games, and you will find us. So I'll get that up eventually. But all right. So that was the update. Again, if you are in the Black Future 88 beta, that's the first rollout you're going to see. And you can find that on blackfuture88.com. Second one. Hi, Gazubi. Hello. Joining
Hi,
the chat.
Gazubi.
Hello. Let's see. Will there be more bosses in the finished game? Well, this kind of goes into our rolling out content scenario, but if you want to speak to that. Thinking what they have right now in the beta.
Yeah,
You don't have to reveal.
I can't. I'm not really going to answer that one. And that's the experience as it is in the demo or not the early access. We don't call it early access.
We call it paid beta.
The paid beta. The paid private beta. That experience is going to change just because the finished game has a lot more content and a lot more playable characters. The number of bosses itself isn't going to change, but I think with tomorrow's update, the complexity of boss fights and like the variations of boss is going to change. If there was a DLC question earlier that
dare. There are things in consideration.
Yeah, so that's all right. Next question, I guess. Did I successfully not answer that?
Yes, you did. That was very, very adroit. Nice.
I think I did a great job on that one.
Okay. You did. Okay.
Weird I don't do this more often.
Hamburger has a number of questions that I think you've answered already, talking about the update that's incoming, about bosses, etc. It's clear that this game is mostly about the gameplay, but will there be more story or lore revealed about the different characters as we go along?
Yes.
Okay. Now this is the one I get all the time, SKM1134, and we're not quite answering this question, but you definitely want to stay tuned about the soundtrack being available. And thank you for being super excited for the game coming to Twitch. Let's see. But we do want to talk about music, because that's something people also seem to really enjoy and love about the game. And Don being composer and, actual musician and executor.
I don't know what I do composing. It's really like a lot more haphazard than that. Composing.
Shh, I'm giving you credit.
Sounds like someone who went to school for that and like maybe has.
I know you write it out and you do all the staff G clefs and treble clefs and you write every note. I know you plan this.
Is that a G clef? I heard
it was a G clef.
If I take notes, I think I'm learning a lot of stuff here.
Okay. Transposition. I know it's you. Go. Anyway.
Yeah. So I do all the music. And it's really fun. And the game started out as a music project, and it's I think there is something really fucking cool about doing the music and the game, and just kind of see some whiskers here. Just seeing how you can kind of meld these two really different things. And I think it's really cool to release music as a game and not just as an album or just as like a digital download or something, but to actually like make it. You experience the music as a game, and that's just a really cool thing. So, Mr. Pants, you're welcome, buddy. So,
no, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the number one comment that we get is, wow, this soundtrack is great, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. So, news about that later, but
and it fits the game, and I think like what's kind of neat about it is like it's really inverted and it's very music forward, and it's more like the music uses the game than the game uses the music. Because it's not in the background and it's really present. That's the thing I like. So I did it.
Yay. By the way, the music that I'm playing right now is one song essentially repeated over and over. It's called Saturn Cutting. It's not indicative of the entire album. It's just something nice to be in the background. So please don't judge the entire soundtrack by Saturn.
We want something we could talk over, so we
exactly
took some of the busy stuff out.
Exactly. Okay. Sorrento, I cannot say anything more about the soundtrack because that will be a reveal later. Let's see. More questions. I'm skipping this. You know, you've met Too Sharp at conventions before, and people.
Too Sharp. It doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
Too Sharp.
Yeah. People are commenting about your monkey bread and other breads, which you do share on your Twitter handle, because you know you're a baker, which is an interesting kind of pastime for perhaps stress relief in development. Do you want to share this at all?
Oh yeah, dude. Let's go in.
Let's
So baking and stay-at-home indie game dev are like this. They're okay. Let me just reach down here because I'm actually working on 2 breads right now.
Really?
So,
you brought bread?
Well, no, I have a space heater under my desk, so it.
Just because your PC warms it up? Is that? Are you proving your bread with PC?
Yeah, I keep it there. So so I'm working on a new levain starter. Let's rewind. So I've started selling my breads, or I did they were auctioned off for my daughter's school. So we're raising money for daughter's school and stuff. And I have some people that like subscribe to my bread club, and it's really cool because now I'm like making bread for other people instead of my family. So I'm working on this starter. I made a starter myself like a few months ago, but it was kind of gross, and I didn't really love the bread. And it also just like is kind of wasteful because you have to feed it every day. It's like literally another mouth to feed. But now that I'm making for other people, I'm just going to kind of work through a bunch of recipes and bread ideas. So there's this one. It's just gross. It's only on day 2, so it's
fair.
Yeah, just regular. Let's actually look at it. So it's starting to kind of get the bubble.
Awful.
It's it's a wild yeast starter. So there's no. All right, next one. This one's my favorite. You can't see it because it's you really can't see it at all. But it's biga. It's a biga bread. It's all a pre-ferment. I've been really into like fermented things and pre-ferments and bread. So I'm doing that, and it's one of my favorites. So I do this a lot. I've done about like 6 or 7 bakes this week. I started looking at like buying bulk flour, like actually 50 pounds of flour at a time, just because I go through it so much. And then things like monkey bread, like that's just really fun to do with my daughter. But I think our most successful bread is the Japanese milk bread that I do. That's a party starter right there. It's so good. It's always a hit at parties. So
I like to say that Zuby says, I'm French and I approve of this dev, #baguette, which is our swear word in Discord, baguette. But it works out. Okay. Yes. So now you're approved because you make bread.
Yeah, I do a lot of baking. I have an outdoor pizza oven. I do these like giant pizza parties. So the pizza oven, it was actually my mom's, but she lost her house in the Santa Rosa fire, and it was like the only thing that actually lived through that fire because it was pizza oven. So she wanted me to have it because I do a lot of baking. But we do these giant pizza parties in our backyard where I'll make like 40 pizzas. It's really fun. So really into like a Neapolitan style, just like really thin crust, 0 flour and stuff.
I think you just host your own events. I think you've just been recruited to like have your own launch party host. You're like, I baked it and also.
We're gonna actually do a launch party at my house.
Really? Aww.
Yeah. So it's fun. I like to do big baked pizza parties. And we'll throw a lot of stuff in the oven, just like potatoes, and let them roast at like 600 degrees for an hour. They come out really good. It's good.
All right. Okay. Skits one is asking some questions about characters, and it's not necessarily conducive to this particular game, but they're asking about skill trees and customization. Maybe it's a good time to talk about the characters and exactly what you can do with them.
Yeah. So I think the characters. What I like about Black Future characters is that they're not balanced. So they actually offer like really different playstyles.
Ghost for life
Yeah.
for Ghost.
So I think one of the updates that we're going to make to the game in this beta pretty soon is we're going to swap out Ghost for another character who's gotten a lot of love recently, and she's my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, her name is Sue, and she is by far the craziest fucking character.
No, why? Because Ghost is definitely my favorite. I mean, you're sacrificing life for power, but I enjoy the power.
So good. So Sue, she has a lot of really interesting qualities. She starts addicted to drugs. She has a lot of kind of drug play mechanics.
I think you mean stims, Don. I think I heard the word stims coming out of your mouth.
Drugs, because that gets you a harder ESRB.
Should never use drugs for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stims are the ESRB friendly.
Good God. Yes.
I can't say that. Okay.
Stims are what is in the game. Friendly stim dealers with natural products.
Natural products, holistic. So, anyways, she's addicted to all the shitty stims that are grown underneath the tower in like the shitty stim runoff water and stuff. But what's really cool about her is she's offered a few unique buffs that all synergize with catching weapons. And that's a pretty uncommon thing. Like if a weapon drops, you only have like less than like, half a second to decide to like, hey, I'm going to go try to get it and catch it. But she starts with a weapon called the Needler. And it's kind of interesting. It's not super powerful, but it'll do kind of like piercing damage. But it has really low ammo, and when it runs out of ammo, she throws it. And it's kind of a sneaky weapon because if it hits an enemy, it'll kind of like sneak some of their ammo back into the Needler. It's sneaky. It'll kind of like steal some ammo.
Yeah.
And so she can actually kind of reload it.
Through boomerang.
Yeah, so that sequence of just like pew, 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 throw, jump, and catch it is awesome. And if she synergizes that, and if she really uses that as like a build direction, almost like this kind of informal skill tree, like, oh, I'm going to really gear up towards like catching stuff. She's awesome. It's incredibly high skill play. It's really crazy. It's really different from the other characters.
You are seeing her in the background in a little tease, by the way.
Yeah. And my friend was a hair model for her. So when I put together the Pinterest board for the artists that worked on it, like, hey, go check out Yoshi's hair because like Yoshi's hair is on point. She's great.
Nice. Okay, so this is a good time then to talk about weapons and buffs and combos and things of that nature.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 weapons and why? If you had to pick 3 out of the game, out of the multiple, I guess 100 something, which 3 would you pick?
Man.
I gotta choose your babies.
Yeah, it's hard because I know a lot of all the secrets in the game, and there's some I forget, and there's a lot of item sets. If you don't know what item sets are, it's you get like a buff and a weapon, and there's all these secret recipes, and they'll combine. And sometimes they'll just replace your weapon with like an upgraded version. So some of them are kind of secret until you find them the first time. But my favorite weapons, let's say the Sky Vader, very secret. The Heavy Needler, the Ghost Nail.
Ghost Nail's my favorite.
And the Kinetic Lance.
Yeah.
And I also like the Hot Ripper, the Kinetic Hot Ripper or the Hot Lance, just because it's like, it's like, it's just a liability. And like you have it on your back and you see it glowing red, you're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get killed with this. I like the Vapor Smelter just in terms of like its ridiculousness and how I always get myself killed with it.
Really? Because you explode yourself?
Yeah, I like just like it drops. I always see it drop in the cistern where just like the weapon quality is higher in the cistern. I'm like, oh god, I really need this, but it's probably gonna get me killed. And I'll grab it and I'll have a few like really successful, like thrilling moments with it. As soon as you like accidentally aim at your feet, you're like, oh, this again. It's good. It's got like the sharpest edge of all the weapons in the game. It's just really dangerous. So I like it for that quality, even though it's always going to get you killed.
Gaia. Okay, so what
Also,
about?
the little brother is awesome. I like that a
I have
lot.
not encountered Little Brother.
It's like kind of the machine gun grenade launcher that just destroys things, but it's really dangerous to use because it creates so many explosions.
Okay, so from a distance, excellent.
Yeah, yeah, and
Gotcha.
if you pair it with things like the Tempest Core, the Deep Shadows buff, where it creates clones of you,
Yeah.
it's like, oh god, I'm going to get myself killed with this. That's great. I think that's a super exciting experience. I think it's like, oh man, how long can I keep this alive? It's awesome.
It's risk reward for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of risk.
Yeah.
A lot of reward too.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so combos then. How does that work in the game?
So there's kind of a low-key secret combo system, and it's based on killing enemies, not just like actually hitting them with damage. So just because combat in the game is so bursty, it kind of makes more sense to. Oh, I did the heart again.
You
To
hearted yourself.
incentivize just like actually killing and just like enemy throughput is kind of how I consider it. So there's a few buffs that work around combos. There's a few ways to extend your combo timer, but basically, if you take damage or yeah, actually, if you just take damage or it times out, your combo streak ends. The smoke that's sometimes on the player, that's actually your combo meter, and it doesn't really tell you when it's going to end, so you have to kind of get a feel for the cooldown or the timeout period. But it'll also change color based on how cursed you are. So there's a lot of just kind of information to glean from this kind of like semi-secret system. And yeah, and it'll also go deeper in color as you go deeper into your combo. But it's really it's there for you to build off of. So it by itself, there are some weapons that work with it, but it's mostly built around getting buffs or perks that work with it, so that you can kind of like build around deficiencies that the player might have. Like if they're using weapons that are really ammo hungry, you probably have an ammo supply problem. So you would use kind of combo style buffs to counteract that.
Gotcha.
So game designery. That was like I went
no.
deep weeds on that.
It's all good. I mean, the buffs. It's probably useful to understand about the buffs as well, and how you kind of are customizing that. I tend to stay away from combo-based buffs, just because I don't trust myself.
Yeah.
But no, difference between, I guess, curses and buffs. The curses are I think unique in this game for sure.
Yeah. We're going.
We're going. We're just going to talk about
it. Curses are basically they're buffs or weapons that have higher upsides and also stronger downsides. And on top of that, anytime you interact with something that's cursed, like a cursed portal, like those purple portals that pop up, or touch a cursed weapon, or take a cursed buff, it's gonna kind of rub off on you a little bit, and that has problems. You're gonna run into cursed enemies, which are harder, but cursed enemies also drop more loot.
So are you saying it taints your soul? Is that what you're trying to say?
What's that? Yeah. Oh yeah, pretty much, very much. And certain weapons actually scale with curse. Like the Black Richter gets stronger the more cursed you are. So the Black Richter is actually only really good by itself, like for the first zone. But then afterwards, it can't really one or even two shot enemies anymore. But if you really go heavy on curse, you can take that weapon much further. Yeah, and then actually the chance of running into cursed bosses is where getting cursed gets really, really dicey. So, that's
a good general. I like that. Also, in the background, you're seeing a little bit of footage for those watching, and you can see the smoke indicative of the combos happening. So if I'm distracted by like watching you and watching the game. It's happening in the background. So anyway, those watching, you could see the combo build happening. All right, back to question. Which platform is your preferred way to play by Andrew Nguyen?
Oh, platform. I really like the PC version, and I think there's a lot of great things in the Switch that make it just everything that's good about the Switch makes it a great fit for Black Future. You can play on the train. The game is really geared towards like short play sessions, um, but for the PC, just being able to like put it on my giant speakers that I have in my kind of home studio,
Mm.
and just kind of like make it loud. Like the game is meant to be played loudly. It's meant to be played on speakers over headphones.
And with a Rumble
It's
controller for
yeah,
real.
with Rumble and I think there's just more options available to that on the PC version. And just PC development in general, just kind of have more of that stuff available. So that's my current, just because it's like the maximalist aesthetic and it's like all in your hands, and I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Andrew, we can't really talk about simultaneous releasing on platforms. I mean, it's always a goal, but at this point, we haven't announced the release date yet, so we can't really talk about that much. Let's see. Yes, the runner. We talked about final content and the fact that we are rolling this out through beta, so you are not seeing it all right now.
Mhm.
How? Okay. How many people are working on Black Future 88?
Oh, that's a great question. It kind of changes. I'm the only actual employee of
Super
Donald
sacrifice.
True Enterprises.
Is that what it is? LLC.
um, yeah, so it's but I've been able to actually work with a lot of people through development, and kind of it's a lot of extra work just to like kind of constantly source and find people. But the good part is that if you work with just a lot of people and they're contractors or they have kind of like different roles on the project, you can really just kind of find the best people you can that can do that work at that time. So I've been able to work with really great pixel artists that have worked on like incredibly high profile games and stuff. And it's awesome. And I can just find the people I want because there's not really a permanent team for the game. So I think at peak it was maybe 5 people working at once. Just this was maybe like 6 months ago though, when just like heavy production. But at this point, it's me and I guess Zach when I can get him or when I have something for him to do. But it's tiny.
Yeah. I should mention that some of the footage people are seeing in the back is provided by IGN because you went to GDC and had
Yeah.
some cool interviews. I've made sure to cover that up with Don's face, so you can't see the courtesy of
Oh, that's
IGN
good.
sticker.
Uh,
But yeah, so do you want to tell us about GDC? Like anything exciting, anything that you want to take
yeah,
away?
it was great. I didn't really have any goals. I think like the previous years, it was like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna try to get my game signed, or like I'm gonna go, I'm gonna just talk to publishers, like I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go to like all these cool events. Like it was my first time showing at Indie Mega Booth and like all these really awesome things. But this year it's like okay, I'm showing at Indie Mega Booth. Again, I really like showing at Indie Mega Booth, but I've done it before. Um, in the Mix event, and the Mix is really good, but I've done that before. So this time is just like just great to like hang out with people and to see other Good Shepherd devs like Semblance Team
Mm.
and Casper and Blaze and stuff. Those like really fucking cool. That's kind of what I look forward to all year, honestly. So just to like see my people and like to meet new people. That was it. All I did was hang out with friends. I didn't
Yeah.
do anything productive. I showed my game a bunch.
You and
It
Zach
was
did an
great.
interview, I believe.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, we did that too. We went to
You
the
know,
games. Yeah,
GameSpot. Just,
did that. Yeah, that's great. They're so nice there. They're really nice. Um, yeah, it was good.
Good.
Back.
No, I think at Good Shepherd we're really lucky. We have some really cool devs, and you guys always have like a really neat like synergy, especially Naoma Cup and you. I always love going to shows
Yeah,
and seeing you guys sit next to each other, and the banter
they're so
is
great.
hilarious.
Yeah, I really like them. They're just like the coolest people I've ever met. And they're like it's neat to like I think working in games. And the reason I'm an indie developer and the reason I kind of came back to games after like rage quitting 5 or something years ago, So like I miss the people and I miss the work, but like there's something special about people that work in games. Especially like with the Good Shepherd team, like you guys are all really good at what you guys do.
Oh.
And I'm sure there's like probably higher paying jobs in AAA, right? But
We're
so,
indie as well. We definitely are.
yeah, but to work in indie games, I think it takes like a special love for that kind of work and like just special. It's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than people might realize. So I just really like the people and getting to meet new people that are also really different because they're from South Africa and they just it's great. I love it.
Yeah, and they're 20.
Yeah, they're so much younger.
So young and so successful.
And they've done so much, and they're all like in their Forbes like 30.
Like Forbes, like, 30 under 30. This is
30 under
now.
30. My goodness. Yeah, so I'm just always so impressed by the people I get to meet at GDC and stuff.
Good.
Even just people like coming up to the booth and like, yeah, I'm here like pitching my game and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool, can I see it? I'm like, oh shit, that's really cool.
Oh,
like
good.
I don't
you're
know
like
how
a
I would
mentor
feel
now.
about doing any of that. So yeah.
Oh, good. Well, there's been a lot of really positive feedback from GDC and from everywhere else. A lot of coverage for Black Future and a lot of props for you, for sure, from that too.
It was awesome. Yeah, it's super lucky. I just kind of waltzed into all this.
It's not luck, it's skill, Don. It's skill.
It's kind of in the same way that I compose. There's not a lot of intent here. There's a lot of just like, well, that would be cool. Like that. Let's try that. That might be cool.
We have a very selective process for the games that we accept, Don. I won't have you dissing yourself.
Because every time I talk to indie devs and they're like, oh, who are you with? I'm like, oh, I'm Good Shepherd is publishing my game. They're like, oh yeah, he just rejected me. I'm like, oh wow, another one. Like, and their games look like good.
Crushing
so I know Good
hearts
Shepherd's
left
like
and
signing
right.
some awesome shit right now. So it's Good Shepherd is very selective.
All right, back to the questions. Let's see.
I could keep going if you want.
I mean, I will give you another 20 if you just keep going. That's fine. Okay, Billy asks, what are your principal inspirations on games, music, and arts?
Oh, good. This is such a good question. Let me throw a little heart on that one. All right.
Oh.
You got any other emojis? That one will do. I think that one will do.
Okay.
So I like things that are raw and honest in a way that are just like really appealing. And I like things that are a little unusual, a little rough around the edges, especially when it comes to like music and film. Those are things I'm just like very particular with. I like a lot of art house film. I like a lot of art house horror. Mandy was a film that came out by visionary director Panos Cosmatos. That was a crazy film.
I think I was afraid to see that. I have vague memories of just being like,
Yeah, and it's certainly like got problems. Like you wouldn't review that movie and give it like, I would give it like an 8 out of 10, and you would give Avengers also an 8 out of 10. No, it's on a different scale, and it really aspires to be something just like unusual. And I like that in a lot of things, and I think that kind of informs how I want to make stuff too. I read a lot. I really like books.
What's your genre?
I went through this period where I was really into just like American lit, and I liked some of it, and I didn't like others. And I really liked White Noise by Don DeLillo. But then, honestly, I was outside of this gym, and I saw this book that someone left there, and it was disgusting. It was called Macho Sluts, and it's this hardcore thing. I think I still have it. It's this hardcore lesbian BDSM collection of short stories. And
outside the bro gym?
Yeah, outside of a climbing gym. And I'm like, I was just coming out of it, and I was in my like very uppity like American lit phase, and I found this book. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll read it. And it was like, I've seen some like pretty extreme content across like fairly different mediums, but this shit, I've never read anything just like so just like in the raw and like hardcore. You could literally turn to any page and just be revolted.
This took an unexpected turn.
Yeah, it was great. So, but now I'm really into sci-fi, and I think just my brother really got me into this reading pattern of like, hey, find out who the Hugo Award nominees are and just read all their books. And I'm actually a pretty slow reader, like, and my wife is like really fast. But so I'll usually like, it takes me a while to get through books. 'Cause I like to read every word.
You assume she doesn't read every word because she's quick?
I guess I don't
No,
know.
man.
She reads so fast. I'm a slow reader, and especially if it's a hard book, like when I like Cormac McCarthy, Blood Meridian. It's only like a 300-page book, but it took me like 3 months. That book is hard as fuck. But I'm really into like transhumanism in sci-fi right now. I just read the Murderbot Diaries. I thought it was great, and I'm just thinking a lot about that. I think it's great.
Okay.
So I like books, and with music, kind of the same thing. It should be crazy, it should be weird, but it needs to also be good. It needs to sound good. It can't just be like pure art for art's sake.
I see.
Yeah, I like. I think a lot of people expect me to like synthwave, and I like it enough. I like I like the amazing production that goes into it, but some of it is so boring.
It's like a nice background sometimes to what you're doing. Like I'll listen to it when I'm working, just because it doesn't distract me from what I'm doing, but it provides like ambiance.
Yeah, and some of it just doesn't really live up to like active listening. Like if I'm just going on a walk, or if I'm just gonna like sit and listen to music and that's all I'm doing, some of it just is too boring for that. I like Perturbator because it's really interesting, but at the same time it's just like it's mixed like a Metallica album, and it's like hard to listen to again and again. So I can't spend like too much time in that. Same with Carpenter Brute. It's like it's mixed to be like exhausting as fuck, and it's hard. Like I can't. My ears, they need a break.
Yeah, no, fair.
Yeah.
I think one of the neat aspects of Black Future 88 is Skymelt talking, and this is you, right? Just altering your voice, etc.
Oh yeah, well that I think the voice of Skymelt was always meant to be the music, and it is, but it's like alternately rapturous and pissed off, or just like extremely fucking sexy sometimes. And it's that was always kind of meant like the music is the voice of Skymelt.
Gotcha.
But I do some NPC voiceover.
Yeah. Well, when it says I'm gonna miss you when you're gone, that makes me so angry. So angry.
That's a voice actor I found online.
Is it? Okay.
You really thought that was me? That's so nice.
I did. I thought you just like, dropped your octave a little bit for that.
No, you can't do that. That guy is good. It's TK Kellerman. I always forget his last name. But I search for a TK in my email list when I need to ask him to do more VA.
He says, I want to meet you alone underground. I'm just like, oh, that's
fucking
creepy.
But all those lines, that's basically taken from like all the American lit I read. It's just like, especially white noise.
Except for that one book.
Yeah, Macho Sluts. Macho Sluts is a rough ride, guys. Don't read it. Don't read it on a bus either.
Except for with a paper cover, like those. Like you're going to school.
Okay, well, sidebar on Macho Sluts.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I started this again.
That like run the gamut. It's like these hardcore BDSM like scenarios, but also like here's this like super butch lesbian vampire that's going on like a night hunt, and she's gonna like fuck up some other vampire victims. It's weird. Macho Sluts went into some like sci-fi.
So what you're saying is that you read it for the articles.
Yeah, I read it for the articles. I read it for just like the creative debauchery. It's like these stories are wild. Okay.
And
bar on Macho Sluts. I think we're talking about VO still. Are we on still VO?
We were. Let's go back to. There's a new one here. I dig the style of the trailers. Will you share some artwork for wallpapers eventually? I think I know the one everyone wants.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, the one with the butt.
Yeah.
The butt one. Okay. Yeah. We'll do a really big one for that.
I guess. I mean, this is part of the like, hey, bringing in contractors, bringing in artists, bringing in whoever suits the style to do, assets for the game that kind of come together under your umbrella. So trailer, one of those like you could just take screenshots of the trailer if you want to use it for wallpaper, but I don't know if you're making a press asset like list of, hey, here's stuff you can use for your screenshots, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. He's asking. Are you planning to make some artwork for wallpapers or use trailer art?
I think that is kind of butts up against one of our unannounced announcements, right?
Yes.
I think, so I think that's going to be a question we dodge, and we pretend to answer it, but we don't really answer it.
Well, you're not pretending very well. That was a poor pretend. 5 out of 10.
Great. I was great. Plotting is kind of one of my strong suits.
Okay. Wow.
I'm doing great, Tennessee.
It's fine. I'm going to spoon. You're asking legal protection should an individual have for an LLC. We're going to skip that because that could be like a 30-minute discussion, and we're talking about
I will just say that I should have done an LLC and I didn't. I'm actually still a sole proprietor, and I did that for a few reasons. None of them were good, and then a few bad reasons, which were like, well, I kind of just saw the cost of it, and I was already like full-time indie. I'm like, oh, I kind of need that money for like everything else.
Protection. Though.
Yeah, I really should have done it. I think LegalZoom is actually doing a sale on it right now. You could do it all in for like under $100 or something.
There you go. See, I did ask an indie game dev if people had questions for you that were indie game related, so that's why I'm bringing this up.
I would absolutely do that, and I would also absolutely do all your legal paperwork ahead of time before working with contractors.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, this one is from Tushar as well, and I really need you to answer this because I'm tired of having this discussion. I have my own headcanon for Old Hower. Old Hower is actually older Hower that's come back from an even bleaker future to help his past self. Having become older and more grizzled, his fighting style turns more melee-based, and now he is default equipped with the Black Richter. Does this theory hold water, and if not, can it?
Yeah, no, that's totally it.
Is it?
That's great.
Is it?
Yeah, that's... Yeah, he's older, but just by a little bit. That's why he has a little less time to live. But he's grizzled. He's seen some shit. He came back different, like in Pet Cemetery. He just came back different.
That's why he enjoys melee, because he wants to get right up in the face of the people that he's gonna kill.
He went from like part nihilist, because Howard, the kind of tutorial character, easy to play, high health. A little bit boring on purpose. He's a very safe first choice. Old Howard, though, he's a spicy meatball. He's ready to go into the red. He's ready. He's ready for whatever you can throw at him.
Okay, wow. Further character development that you don't know about being revealed here on our live stream.
Yeah.
All right.
Adding that shareholder value every day of the week.
Every day. All right. Would you consider making a 4-player crazy arena mode to ruin friendships even further?
Yeah, I would. That sounds awesome. That sounds great. Of course, would you consider playing it? I mean,
here you go. Has there ever been so much stuff on screen that you have to pause and just take a minute?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's great. I love it when the Murdervator, when you finally get it and everything goes bazonkers, and and you're picking a perk, and it's just like super slow motion in the background, but you see the sparks coming off like the gear wheels, and like the lights slowly passing, doing their parallax pass through the holes and stuff. That, I think, is a really special moment for me when I play the game. I'm like, this is really cool. It's like watching like the When Doves Cry music video by Prince for the first time. Like, what is this? This is so cool. So yeah, it's kind of controlled chaos, and it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's helpful to me because it's kind of learning like what to focus on and what to ignore, and it's a lot of like kind of training your eye and sort of your hands to pay attention to what's necessary and just disregard the things that aren't.
And that's just one of like the many like intentional sharp edges of the game. Like there's so many. Like there's a lot of content. A lot of the content is really dangerous to the player. The game is continually overwhelming. Like in terms of figuring out how stim addiction works and like curses, things that are described and things that aren't. Everything in the game is player hostile to some extent, and I think that goes for its like kind of over the top beautification.
Yeah. Although it's really satisfying, especially like I love the whole like Black series where, just teleport into something and you can just go in a nice zigzag all the way up, and it's really satisfying to just I love that weapon set. All right, is the number 18 significant? I don't know why.
No.
Okay.
It seemed like a great time, like a great amount of time for a game that I would want to play. And it's sort of like that. And I play games. I'm like, oh, this is great for like the first 15 minutes, and it's like, it needs. Yeah, sometimes I play a game. I really like, Enter the Gungeon and Dead Cells, but I also don't want to do like a 2-hour run. Or like Slay the Spire is also great, but sometimes those runs just go on forever. After you hit like a certain power threshold, and you kind of become like kind of unkillable in those games. I was like, well, it kind of needed to end like.
I see. Yeah. That's bad when you feel like, can we just be done? No, you won't feel that way in this game. You just be like, I died.
Yeah, and also I'm a dad, so I don't really play like the 100-hour Dark Souls games I used to. So it's like, I only really play short session roguelikes. And I play really aggressively when I play those. And that to me, like I wanted everything in Black Future to guide the player towards that. Because I think a lot of roguelikes and a lot of kind of combat style games don't really push the player into taking enough risks. I think Guacamelee does. I think Guacamelee is
I've not played Guacamelee. That is an amazing title, though.
Good. That's obviously like a very different kind of game from Black Future, but I think it's a really good combat inspiration.
Cool. All right. Well, we have been going for roughly an hour now, so I'm gonna do a couple last questions and then we're done. There seems to be a much heavier lean on offense over defense in a lot of playstyles, weapons, stims, buffs, curses. Is that to highlight the frantic pace you have to move to get to the top, or did balance just work out that way?
Yes and yes. I think absolutely. That's a great observation too. And I'm actually just really pleased that anyone noticed because it's a lot. You have to like do a lot of work to like nudge a player in a direction, and just pushing them towards aggressive play. I want the player to feel like the characters, which are nihilistic, nothing to live for, angry, upset, and just to push them just as fast as they can go. And that feels really good when I play that way. So I want other people to play that way too. That's how I did it. It kind of worked out that way.
Nice. Okay, so for those of you who have been here, thank you for watching the stream. We'll be doing this more frequently as the months go by, and as we begin to tell you the launch date, obviously counting down to that. But in the meantime, you can go to blackfuture88.com. You can get the beta. You can play now, and please do jump into our Discord, Good Shepherd Games, and let us know what you think. We also have a bug area. We've been pretty thorough about testing up to this point, but there's occasionally a bug or two that we do pass on and work with Don to correct. So
you should tell me about them. That's so weird.
You know what? It's just I don't want to take up your time. It's fine. Shut up, John. We have meetings every week. Now all of my testers will be like, "Is she not telling him about all the bugs we report?" I am.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, thank you for being here, and everyone should check out the game, and we'll do this again.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Yay. All right.